Today's video is about what you opted into without knowing it. Default opt-in. Under Microsoft Windows 11, using the Notepad version 11 that's included with it, you click the gear icon, click Settings, and then look for a setting called When Notepad Starts, and then select Open a New Window. Disable the one that says Open Content from Previous Sessions. This doesn't actually give you what you want here. We must do something more. Next, it saves a maximum of 256 tabs for all windows in a TabState file. I'll tell you where they're located. There's several that we know of so far. If there are more than 256 tabs, the additional tab content is lost in this TabState file or files. And or the state file will not be created, and or it may be erased, not updated, or corrupted, depending on where you look up the information. Variables. There are reserved variables in every operating system that use a generalized identifier. We put in air quotes most of the time when we talk about things like your home versus your domicile. If you're talking to a lawyer, go find out why I just said that, but here we go. Yes, you might want to look into that later. In a Windows machine currently, and every other operating system, you'll find it using different characters for this air quote, scare quote mode. LocalAppData, all is one word, all caps, done within not quotes, but percent symbols, is a local variable that's used for your session. It will lead to C drive users, your name, or a general area or whatever. But this is a universal way to break it open. And then you look under Packages, Microsoft.Windows, Notepad underscore, and then a string of characters. It's all done as one long string. And then it'll have LocalState as a subfolder. Then in that you'll find TabState and WindowState. And in them will be those TabState files or something else. Please be warned that I'm going to go on to a rant how this has been a problem since the early 90s. And that it's a chronic pattern of behavior from Microsoft Corporation. Apple does this, Google does this, all of them do it. And they all base it on you admitting to, confessing to, or agreeing to something because you didn't go through and turn shit off. This is an adversarial behavior by these companies. Getting rid of this, you might want to look up things like MRU Blaster, which goes through your registry and other files and deletes all the stuff that your computer helps you with, or is saving for you, or is backing up for you that you didn't ask for, or in this case, literally keeping tabs on you. Yes, there was a recent incident, relatively recent incident, where someone got outed for the stuff he was making a Notepad file for because the thing came up during his streaming activity and basically outed him for looking up certain things on the net and keeping a Notepad file of it. On my computer, running Windows 7, yes, a 2009 last update, full update operating system. It's been updated since then if you get a point-of-sale terminal version of it. But the point is that I'm using an insanely old operating system, and the Notepad that comes with it is just smart enough to do the same kind of bullshit. It either does it through MRUs, in your registry, or some other shenanigans. In this case, putting it in a folder while it has an obfuscated, long-ass, ridiculous file path that obviously they'll just change one letter and hide shit from you. That's what's going to happen. At least it's findable. Methods for preventing this. You can't. You have to stop using software, whether it's the operating system or just individual apps that do this bullshit. I have copies of Notepad from Windows 3.1.1, 95, 98, Millennium. NT, XP, Vista, every version that I have got a hold of, I have on my computer that's been altered on a hexadecimal level, binary level if necessary, to make it to where it can't pull this shit by doing something simple. None of them are approved by the company that wrote them because they do what I tell them to do instead of what they say. There's a version of Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word or Photoshop out there that you can look up that does this same shit, supposedly for your benefit or to protect the children or whatever excuse was politically correct at the time or even incorrect. What is this being done for? This is not the rant, this is the reality. It's to keep files on your computer so you're chewing up your bandwidth and your hard drive space to make sure that your computer rats you out. And you're held responsible for everything your computer does. You notice how I said that. If your computer goes off on a tangent because it's infected with a virus or has been told to do something by Microsoft Corporation, yes, this has happened repeatedly, or Apple or Google, that you didn't ask for, that you found out your computer was used for market research purposes, all the way to astroturfing various blogs. That actually happened a while ago. You're held responsible and you are told you opted in for it even though you had no clue these settings were on your computer. It's not keeping a session so that you get embarrassed by it having your list of questionable content you were looking up. It's there so that they can mine the data and sell it to the highest bidder, whether it's the police department, a political organization, or the Trump organization deciding whether or not you are a suspicious person. Period, full stop. The shit will keep happening until you turn off all of it. Have I made this absolutely fucking clear? Yes, I'm going to include the name, the YouTube name or the internet name for the Twitch streamer that got caught with his Notepad open. You have to turn off Windows Notepad 11 session state, autosave, restore, and save and restore functions. And then you have to go through and clean them. And I don't know how to. I'm not running Windows 11 on principle, and also obviously for good reason. But the way it's been worked in the past is you find out what the file names are, and you make at least one file that's, hopefully it's a stable name, we'll find out later. It can be changed at any time. You opted in for them to alter your computer so they can get away with going around your attempts to have your privacy. And most importantly, not be accused of shit that the computer went ahead and did. What we would do in the past is erase all this data by compelling the operating system to let us get away with it by taking full control. Making a dummy file and making it read-only so it can't fucking do it anymore. And doing the change of settings. And then, afterwards, finding out what other directory it creates to try to hide it. Experience. This is a case study in it. Microsoft Internet Explorer and the operating system running Explorer, the graphical user interface, was really just a copy of Internet Explorer converted into a graphical user interface. You're running Internet Explorer today. It's just called something else. It's the Windows op system. It would keep shit in the temporary folders. We would habitually have to clean our temporary folders to keep it from jacking it full of stuff, including it filling the supposedly temporary folders with a dossier on everything we clicked, everything we typed, and everything we did, and every password we did, and every bit of data that would eventually be uploaded to Microsoft Corporation for research purposes and quality control purposes and for the children or to save the whales or whatever bullshit they put into their terminology, and then it was sold to advertisers or to the CIA for all you knew. That sounds really paranoid, except you're soaking in it, you know damn good and well that's what happened. If you deny that it happened, I don't know why the fucking hell you would do that. Number one, why would you defend, it doesn't matter what political organization you're a part of, why would you defend the idea that a corporation wasn't spying on you the fucking day they were able to figure out how to do it? I've had having my channels destroyed. I have always put up videos on how to stop them from doing this. And this sounds intensely paranoid. And I am considered a professional paranoid. I am trained to assume malicious intent when we catch somebody doing something they said, oops. It's never oops, it's on purpose. You have to go to a shit ton of effort to make a computer record every fucking thing you do, even if it's a limit of only 256 files, or not tabs. Because I know it's stored other places. You have to go to a fuck ton of effort to do that and protect it and hide it. And I've witnessed operating systems like Windows 95 and up using one of the versions of Internet Explorer or the Microsoft Office product fighting me directly when I'm trying to remove something from a directory that's called temporary. It wasn't temporary. It was the operating system jealously guarding all of the shit it could keep held in a folder that you weren't supposed to have power over. The Windows 7 operating system I'm using right now, from 2009 or so, is currently set up to have a bunch of utilities that I run that destroy things like MRU, most recently used file listings. The drop-down list, my web browser. I've had to alter it to where it doesn't do that. I have had to alter the way it behaves so it won't cooperate with Google at all. When I go on YouTube, YouTube is told flat out, stonewalled, you aren't allowed to keep track of what I'm doing. So it petulantly hides stuff on page 1 for YouTube. So I have to look up a few things to a blank search page, and then when I go back there, eventually it populates it with the things I'm interested in, which means the algorithm doesn't know what to do with me because I'm explicitly opting out the only way I can, by actively and aggressively fighting a corporation worth billions. This is your job now. This is our project. This is our unpaid internship, being the antagonist to every one of these fucking corporations and governments. If you're in China, you go through this because the government overtly does it. North Korea, same thing. And now if you're in Britain, because it requires an ID card, it's the same shit. If I'd done this video 10 years ago, somebody would have thrown me in a loony bin and none of you would listen. You're now listening, or you're in denial. Because they've been caught doing it a bunch. Originally it was Microsoft Corporation. Then Apple decided to do it. Google's doing it. And they've been doing it for a while. And your phone running any operating system by any company that you can't absolutely hack into and modify is also doing it. And yes, Linux does it too. Yes, I know you, yeah. Well, they had an opt-out. No, they don't have an opt-out or opt-in. They just do it as well. Because laws were changed to allow this. Anybody who writes a piece of software, if they pay the right senator, can get this done. You want to run a website? You got to pay $10,000 or whatever the fuck it is this week for a SSL certificate kind of thing. You have to do all these things, all of these barrier for entry things, and then your market research material because your shit will be scanned. I'm running a freebie website that doesn't do this. I got lucky a long time ago. Early adopter. And I don't know that that's factual anymore either. When I run the video game Rust Legacy, it does some market research shit, even though it doesn't work anymore, thankfully, because the companies abandon it and they're no longer paying attention to the data. Portable apps, one of your first or last lines of defense. Portable apps version of Notepad+++. Let's try that one as an alternative. Where does it hide the data for market research purposes? User profile in the percent thing, instead of quotes, it's a percent thing, /AppData /roaming /Notepad++ /backup. Same shit. I had to exclude that by creating that directory structure for all the profiles on my computer. I have several, even though I don't use not any of them really. And then I put in whatever file it created. I made a fake one that was 0 length and made it read-only. And Notepad++, double plus ungood, decided to fucking hack it anyway later. And this is one of the good guy programs. I found the binary point where it did it and edited it out. Even did a video about it. That was on a channel that got deleted mysteriously for, I don't know why. Again, under Notepad, click gear icon, settings, when Notepad starts, and select open new window, not open old content. Next, you're going to have to go into the directory structure, get your hands dirty and your mind dirty, and clean out a bunch of files and find hacks for it. And I guarantee you they will update the software later and just change one of these characters in the directory structure to another one and then put it in there and do it again. Because you opted in to auto-update. See also every service you do an app for or a subscription for that does the same shit. We all need to, in protest, spend a year not doing anything that we subscribe to and opt out of overtly right before we shut them down. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll all need it.